Thought Bubble Audio.
Hi, and welcome to Academy Rewind, the fortnightly podcast where we're taking a look at the Oscars from years past. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is the man of the year 2019, Palmer. How are you today?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm falling. In all the good times, I find myself longing for change.
Are you wearing a green shirt because Green Book won, or is this just...
It's a happy accident.
It's just a happy accident. You're drinking a Sprite, also not for Green Book.
No.
Just,
I don't think Sprite is ever mentioned in Green Book.
No, Coke is.
Yes.
Yes, but not a Coca-Cola product.
Right.
Anyway, so we're taking a break from our usual look back at the Oscars to look back at yesterday's Oscars in 2019.
All the way back then.
You know, I don't remember what I had for breakfast. Nothing. I had nothing for breakfast. That's why I can't remember it. So we're here to look back at yesterday's Oscars
And to see if they got them right.
Potentially controversial, maybe not controversial.
No, it's definitely controversial.
You know, next year I was thinking. So next year's 2020, right? The 2020 Oscars.
No, we're not gonna do that joke.
No, this is not a joke. No,
okay.
No. Looking back, it's perfect vision. That's funny. No, I actually wasn't going there at all. No, because we will not, in our lineup of shows, be at the zeros yet.
Right.
So when we can do the show next year, but then we can also go back by the time we get to that, even if it's like 2 years later.
Right.
And be like, so how are we feeling about this? 2 years later, we can actually do that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. Something to look forward to. So we're going to generally talk about the Oscars.
Yes.
Their choices. We always focus on Best Picture on Academy Rewind, so
right.
that can be the bulk of our conversation, if we'd like it to be. But I would like to talk about the other categories because
everyone's dying to know what we think about the documentary short subject.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. I think the right choice was made.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That was period, end of sentence.
Yeah,
right?
that's the one. Yeah,
yep.
That's the one. Yeah. It's a great title.
It really is.
It wins on the title alone.
Yeah.
Also the speech. I can't believe
yeah.
a movie about menstruation won an Oscar.
Yep.
So good. It's fantastic. So let's kind of get the big thing out of the way in its own way.
There was no host.
There was no host this year. I really liked it.
I did too, although I could have done without the still host monologue at the beginning.
No, I thought that was a nice wink and a nod, more like a hearty handshake than a wink and a nod, even to say like, we don't have a host, but if we were like the host, we'd do this. But if we continue with the no host trend,
right.
that joke can't continue. It's a one-time joke.
I think it was a good wink and a nod, but it wasn't good.
I thought it was good,
yeah,
but
I didn't find it funny.
I think those are three very funny women, and so it could just be personal comedic preference.
Right. I tend to like them, but I don't know. Something about the award season this year, like all of the scripted stuff throughout the entire award season, not just the Oscars, felt very flat the entire year.
I think it feels flat all the time. This is the first year that I actually laughed at a few things. Mm-hmm. Although, but I mean, I laughed at that. I didn't really laugh at much else. I found the speeches funnier this year. There was a lightness to the Oscars this year, pretty much right up until the end. That you don't like, a couple. They became very political last year or the year before, and you heard. So I think that was 2 years ago, and so you heard about that a lot. And this year we kind of skirted by the state of the world, and we actually focused on films this time around, or more generally maybe the story of the artist who's accepting the award.
Well, that comes with not having a host, because one of the things that the host is going to do in his monologue is draw upon topics, topical humor.
Right.
And like politics is always front and center nowadays on topics.
Right.
So yes, I agree that it kind of eschewed politics a lot this time around, but that was down to the host not being there.
It's a good point. I didn't think of it that way.
Because it's not like everyone who won an award came up and was like, this is my take on politics. This, because you still had a couple people who did that. Spike Lee did it.
Sure. I think if anybody can stand up and there and do it, Spike Lee has earned his place.
Oh,
to stand
absolutely.
up there and do
But that's what I'm saying. It also comes down to what the person who wins the award wants to do with their platform.
Sure. No, that's true. But sometimes you get it from everybody, and it was a little bit more about the history of the Academy, changing the culture of the Academy, and all these. That's what the focus was this year, because arguably the Academy went through a lot of changes, and then almost no changes at all by the end. We went through all this we're going to do things differently, and by the end, it was a very typical Academy Awards in its own way. Right,
and we'll get there when we talk about Best Picture. But I don't know.
Yeah, I like the hostless format. To me, it felt like we were moving. Even though we went 15 minutes over, I didn't feel the lag.
I mean, 15 minutes over for that show is not a lot.
No, I mean, we usually go 15 minutes over with a host anyway, so what's the difference?
Oh, no, you go a half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, so I'm 100% for the no host.
I agree. You can get that show on time if you don't put a commercial break after actress, actor, director.
You just
the last four awards had 3 commercial breaks.
I agree.
Do actress and actor, commercial break. Director, Best Picture, boom. Now it's ad revenue for the network. So when they talk about shortening the show, that's not what they're talking about.
Right. They're talking about adding commercials, shortening the show.
Right.
Right. But you know what? I'm glad that battle was won not by the Academy, because as Guillermo del Toro said, editing and cinematography are literally the only 2 things that make films film. You can't edit a play as you go, and you certainly can film it, but then it becomes a movie. You can't live
I think you can edit live theater.
You can
the people just come off stage and be like, we're dropping this next scene. Go out there.
But then that becomes part of the production. You know what I mean? Editing and cinematography are the things that are unique to movies.
Visual effects.
No, you can have visual effects on a stage.
Okay.
Yeah, I give you Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
I give you King Kong.
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
I give you 76 trombones in The Music Man. There are never 76. It's all illusion.
Aw, I haven't seen that one yet either.
You ever seen The Music Man?
No.
Oh.
Not my cup of tea.
Pretty good, actually.
Animation. You can't have animation.
Yeah, you can.
How do you have animation on stage?
I present to you Spam-A-Lot. Animation on stage. You bring down the screen and it plays in the background. You can have all of those things. You obviously have music, musicals, even live, even straight plays have music in them sometimes, background music. But you can't. But the camera and the editing is unique to filmmaking, so you just can't cut those things out. But they didn't, so we're harping a thing that didn't even happen.
Yeah, but that's kind of our shtick.
Yes, yeah, going backwards, harping a thing that didn't happen. All right, so I want to move through the. Awards very quickly.
Yes.
And just kind of say, did you agree with this choice?
Okay.
Yes or no? Okay.
Easy. Go.
Okay. Starting with the thing we were just talking about, best film editing, Bohemian Rhapsody.
No. Next.
Okay.
I don't know. I forget who was actually.
Bohemian Rhapsody won. BlacKkKlansman, Favorite, Green Book, and Vice. Those were the editing choices.
I am fine with Bohemian Rhapsody getting it just on the Live Aid portion.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of Bohemian Rhapsody
is just the Live Aid portion.
It's based on that, because I was feeling it. I thought Bohemian Rhapsody, it's a great movie. It's real fun and whatever else, but it's also a movie.
It's a really, really okay movie.
Yeah, I liked it more than you did, but
you liked it more than a lot of people did.
That's not true based on some of these awards, but that also doesn't mean anything. So My pick would have been for Vice because Vice is a parody, but it's also serious, and I think it's to cut between like them at the restaurant choosing like waterboarding and they going ha 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 ha, and then to go back and then to like the pace is very interesting, and the editing has almost everything to do with that. However, Bohemian Rhapsody has almost like a relentless like Queen like pace to it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like it feels like one of their songs if you really sit and watch the film, and so I kind of get why it won, but it's not my choice.
So I would argue that on Vice, yeah, you like what you said is true, but it's the same shtick that he did with The Big Short.
Sure.
Where he cut away to Margot Robbie in a bathtub explaining
yes
stuff.
And no, except that like he was cutting to celebrities to explain a thing, whereas this was cutting to a scene still involving the characters, but acting in a postmodern or a metafiction type way. Like, and so it's a slightly different shtick, though I understand the cutting of it. But anyway, I'm not getting hung up just on editing, so here we go. Best visual effects, First Man was up against Christopher Robin, Infinity War, Ready Player One, and Solo.
I probably would have given it to Ready Player One.
Ugh, that's the one I wouldn't have given it to.
You said you hadn't seen it.
And the commercials of the CG were enough to keep me away.
Oh, that's not nice.
Yeah,
I mean, I hated the movie.
I know. But really, it was enough to keep me away. Even the clips that they showed on the show, I was like, that's fine. It's not great. It's fine.
But the entire VR world is also tied into it. Like, it's not just what you see on the screen. It's most of the movie taking place inside this VR world.
Yeah, I get it. It's immersive and you blah blah. It just even the stuff that you see, like I mean, I haven't seen the film. You're right. So you can only judge so far by not seeing the film. But based on what I've seen, like the stuff that because trailers are supposed to wow you, right? Here's some of our best stuff. Was fine.
Yeah. But that being said, like at this point, we've done like 1,000,000,004 Star Wars movies. You're not doing anything new with Star Wars
I
movies.
agree.
Let's
and
please stop
I
nominating
just watched
it.
Solo a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
and it's good. Like I enjoyed it. It's fun, but it's not anything that I haven't seen in a Star Wars movie before.
Right.
With models or the computer for that matter.
Exactly. And then Marvel, the fact that Marvel can. The fact that somebody can sit there with a straight face and tell me that a Marvel movie should have been nominated for Best Special Effects.
I think it depends on the film. If I was to say Best Special Effects for any of them, I would probably say Infinity War because Thanos, more than anything else, is very well done. But First Man, I think, deserved its award. Although
out of the ones nominated. Okay.
Out of the ones nominated, right? We only work within the
right.
nominations themselves.
But
you never
the
go
people,
outside of them.
I know that, but I'm just saying the people who did the nominations probably should have seen more than just these 4 movies.
I mean, I'm sure they did.
I don't think they did.
I'm pretty sure they did. I mean, even I was almost inclined to give it, even though I found Christopher Robin dreadfully boring. I
liked
the characters looked great.
Yeah,
they looked so good.
They looked like actual teddy bears.
Exactly, and they look used and worn in the right way, and the lighting worked, and they had weight and all that stuff. But First Man was an immersive experience, and I think it got robbed of a few awards. Not Best Picture, but some of the things that it was nominated for probably should have got
sound.
there.
I think it probably should have won.
Yeah, I agree, and well, I guess we could do sound now, but now I'm out of order on my list.
Good job.
So, sound mixing and editing, for people who forget, editing is creating the sounds, and mixing is putting them together in the movie with the right balance. What do you hear at what time and why, and what does that
Why wouldn't you just call sound editing Foley?
because sometimes you have to edit the sounds together to create a particular sound. Like the sound of the T-Rex is a baby elephant plus a lion plus a this, and that's so you edit those sounds together.
It's not the actual sound of a T-Rex?
It's not.
You are really bumming me out today.
I'm sorry. So Bohemian Rhapsody won for both. And
again, because of the Live Aid portion.
Agreed. It's because of that. It's because of the Live Aid portion. And I mean, mixing a musical and making it work and making us believe they're really singing when they're lip syncing and all that stuff, that's very hard. I will, if it's done well, which Bohemian Rhapsody was, it's great. But First Man, like you're in the rocket. You're just in it. And the if you're talking like why it should win based on one sequence, if you're looking at the Live Aid thing, being in the ship, being in Apollo 11, and then the camera goes down and out into the moon, and it just drops. The way that the sound drops is like you walking out onto the moon for the first time. Mm-hmm. It's genius, and it was not recognized by any stretch. So I was a little more upset it didn't win the mixing over the editing part, but, it's fine. All right, so I think sound is one of those things people go, oh, sound, I don't care, I'll go to the bathroom. It's an underappreciated art.
Yeah.
Like, it so is. Makeup and hairstyling went to Vice.
Which,
over Border and Mary Queen of Scots, which it's so good. Not even just Christian Bale as Dick Cheney. The rest of them are really good. It basically won for him, though.
Right. That's exactly why I won.
Because
it won for the makeup and hairstyling.
Right. It's so good. It was so good. So,
although I did really like all of the hair in Mary Queen of Scots.
Sure. You know what? But, like, I've seen it in Elizabeth. I've seen it in Elizabeth I. It didn't really show me anything I haven't seen before. Mm-hmm. And so I'll give it. Vice, you made me forget I was watching the actor. And that's a huge thing. Costume design went to Black Panther over Ballad of Buster Scruggs, The Favorite, Mary Poppins Returns, and Mary Queen of Scots. So
I would have gone with Mary Queen of Scots. I thought the outfits on that was so good.
Because the Oscar, the way that they vote, it's like your top picks versus your
No, that's only best picture.
Best picture. This one is like I want this one to win. Right. This is my award. I saw a tweet. It was like, Black Panther winner of best costume design, and it was just a picture of what's his name, the bad guy there in the film, wearing his denim jacket in the museum.
Yeah,
like winner of best costumes.
I mean, that's essentially what it was.
No, it won for the Wakandan outfits. As a comic fan, I very much dislike the look of Black Panther in that movie. His like scuba suit Black Panther look. He looks way better in Civil War. It's a much better costume. But I agree with the integration of like the different cultures and how those were brought in with inspiration and this and some of those things. Some of the like even the headgear alone was just super cool. Super cool. It won 3 awards. I'm good for 2 of them. And that's one of them. Costumes is one of them. Especially just personally, just based off of the list. The Favorite also had beautiful costumes. Beautiful, beautiful costumes.
They were okay.
But I will give it to me. I'll give you Black Panther. Best cinematography, Alfonso Cuarón won for Roma.
Yes.
Over Cold War favorite, Never Look Away in A Star Is Born.
Yep, it's the right one.
I would think it's
hands down.
I would also think it's the right one. Though The Favorite did some very, very interesting things with fisheye lenses to kind of make you feel like you're in the palace, in the scope of the room. Because sometimes, like, large rooms get lost when you're on camera. So it went for a fisheye, which is that's not how we see the world. So it's an odd experience at first, but I kind of liked it because
it's because you like British stuff.
It gave a disjointed feeling.
I saw the same thing and I was like, "Why the heck is this here?" Like, did the director miss a day?
did he miss a day? But see, like the director Yorgos Lanthimos is Greek. He's not British.
No,
Like,
but the movie's British.
yeah, so doesn't matter.
But I'm just saying, like,
That has nothing to do with the cinematography.
I think it's coloring your opinion.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Unpopular opinion: the cinematography in A Star Is Born is real good. Unpopular opinion: it is real good. It's nominated for a reason here. I thought it when I saw the film. It's very good. I don't think it's the best, but it's very good. Ballad of Buster Scruggs maybe should have been nominated and wasn't, but it's very pretty. I wouldn't call it
was
inventive.
nominated. You said it was.
Not for best cinematography, best costumes.
Oh.
It was nominated. Anyway, production design. Black Panther won over The Favorite, First Man, Mary Poppins Returns, and Roma.
Roma should have won.
Roma built a city
On rock and
Literally,
roll.
It built the whole city.
Right.
It's like stupid that didn't
Right.
win. Stupid it didn't win. And First Man, the down to like the pencil recreation of NASA, something we've kind of seen before, so I'll give it the pass on that one. But still great. But The Favorite was gorgeous. Gorgeous. Like stupidly good. It was the one that I was like, I wanted it to win and it didn't.
Right, because it shouldn't have. It should have been Roma.
But I'll give Roma because it built a city, and it is almost a crime that it didn't win.
Right.
Yeah, and I like Black Panther. I think it's an interesting, some of the sets are very cool, but they feel like sets. This is the throne room set. This is the science room set. This is the casino
The
set.
set.
Yeah, it doesn't. It feels like a big set pieces, like on a soundstage, as opposed to feeling
Because they are.
right, but not. But technically, so is Roma. You know, right?
Mm.
So, but Roma, you're in a city.
Yeah.
Black Panther, I'm on a soundstage, and so that was the part that some of it's very cool looking. Don't get me wrong. It just doesn't feel like a lived-in world the same way. That was my meh on Black Panther. Sound editing and mixing we already did. We're going through this so much. Best original song, Shallow won over All the Stars
And
of
it
Black
should've.
Panther. I'll Fight from RBG. The Place Where Lost Things Go, Mary Poppins, and When a Cowboy Trades His Spurs for Wings from Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I agree. It should have been Shallow. It was Shallow. Everybody was happy, except for the people who lost, obviously. But I think the performance of
Shallow.
was good, but I love Bette Midler. You know, we talked about this. We talked
Right,
about this
right.
last
I
night.
do like Bette Midler's, for some reason, singing The Place Where All the Lost Things Go. And could they not get anybody to do the song from Black Panther? Because it wasn't performed.
It wasn't.
I no.
didn't know. Are you sure?
I'm positive. I only missed one thing in the entire show, and that was Best Animated Feature.
Oh, would you go up and go to the bathroom because you knew
I
Spider-Man was
did.
going to win and you hate Spider-Man?
Right.
Yeah, sure.
I was like, I don't have to be here
So
for this.
best animated feature, we'll get there because it's just I don't want to go out of order again, and I'm looking at a list here. It should have been Shallow. They gave a very emotional performance.
She gave a really good performance, and
Sure.
he
She's
gave
like-
a very. Next time, let's record that ahead of time.
Do it. Yeah. No, he had a hard time finding it at the beginning, but I said this to you last night. As a musician, I have complete sympathy. It's if you don't do it, you will not get it. You just won't.
That's very elitist of you.
It's just what it is. You know, sometimes you need to be able to do it to understand the position that they're in the first place. And there is no judgment for not being able to find the note right away in a space like that. Like in remotely, there's no time to warm up because you're in a show the whole time. So you're basically going up and singing from the audience,
But
without
they've
warming up.
done rehearsals.
It makes no difference. It's not the rehearsal. It's literally the space and the way the sound works in the space. It is its own cruel monster.
Right, but what I'm saying is they do rehearsals in the space.
It doesn't matter. It's still on the day with the space. You can rehearse all you want. It doesn't matter. You never know what's going to happen at that time. Discounting nerves and not being able to warm up and all these different things. And he found it really fast. Bradley
See,
Cooper
I don't think he
found-
ever did.
I don't think he sounds like he does in the movie because auto-tuning is a thing that we all live with forever. It's been a thing for a long time. Some of your favorite movie musicals, they're all auto-tuned.
Liar.
They're all auto-tuned. Liar. You could look it up. It's not a mystery. That's
you're
what they
lying.
do. Okay.
We better not have the same discussion next year when we're talking about Cats being nominated for every award imaginable.
We'll see what happens there, won't we? I'm done with Academy Rewind if Cats wins. I'm done. Even if I love it, I'm done. Best original score: Black Panther 1, Black Klansman, If Beale Street Could Talk, Isle of Dogs, and Mary Poppins Returns. I've been pretty vocal with you about this. Based within these other films,
Yeah.
Black Panther is the superior score. It is. I wouldn't call it the greatest score ever by any stretch. There are some really, really great pieces of music, and there are some very it's there. That's a thing that was happening to get from point A to point B. Not every piece works, but you could say the same thing about every single other one of these categories, and they were all doing something that we've seen done before in other films. And that just as a musician, just hear me out. Ludwig Göransson, within a superhero genre, now in the general state of music, which is really there's music in the background so the audience doesn't get bored. We're moving from here to here to here to here because of temps, tracks, and what studios are looking for. He made bold decisions. He mixed orchestral music with some quartet pieces, with synth and hip hop, and it was all over the place, but it was also seamless all at the same time. It was really well done.
He made a soundtrack that was entirely forgettable that I don't remember a single note of.
So give me the melody to the main theme of Black Klansman.
La la la.
No.
No, it probably is.
No,
No, I'm
not.
telling you, go watch it.
What about If Beale Street Could Talk? Or
La
Isle
la
of,
la.
Or Isle of
I haven't seen
Dogs?
Beale Street. If Beale Street could talk,
pretty sure you didn't
I
see
refuse
Isle
to see Isle of Dogs.
Because you hate Wes Anderson,
Right.
right? Because you hate good things.
No.
Oh, right. So, but my point.
Mary Poppins was the better choice. It was the only thing Mary Poppins did well.
Yeah. See, and I haven't seen it, but I listened to the soundtrack so a few times, so I could be informed at least. It's fine. It's nothing. It's not bad. It's fine. It's good. It is what it's supposed to be.
It's
for
still
the
more
movie that it's
memorable
supposed
than any of the other ones.
I completely disagree. Black Panther, within these categories, don't forget.
I
Always
know,
within
and I'm
the
not talking about
categories.
any other movie or any other category. I'm talking about this category. Mary Poppins original score should have won.
Okay, sure. Original score. Like Julie Andrews, Dick Van Dyke, original score. The Sherman Brothers.
No, Mary Poppins Returns original
okay.
score.
Mary Poppins. No. Nope. Black Panther is the winner. I assume you didn't see the live action shorts or the best animated shorts. No.
And neither did you, you fraud.
I know. I see them I see them every year. This is to be fair, normally I go with the same person, not you. It's the thing that we do, and he was in Ecuador, so it was hard
Don't
to
blame
get
him.
together. I mean, he texted me last night. He's like, I feel like we didn't see them this year, and I don't know what to do with myself because he had just gotten back the day before. So it is what it is. I didn't see them. I did see Bao, B-A, the one that the
Everybody saw that. It played in front of a movie.
Incredibles 2?
Yeah, maybe.
I think it was Incredibles 2. I didn't love it.
It was okay.
It was fine. Anyway.
It was very emotionally manipulating, which is kind of Pixar's.
Modus operandi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Best documentary short subject we already talked about. Period of Innocence. Didn't see it, but it wins on the title alone.
Yep.
It's fantastic. Best documentary. Did you watch any of them?
Nope.
No. Going kind of off of this, there was a lot of people talking about how the Mr. Rogers documentary should have won, mostly because it's the only documentary they saw all year.
I've only heard 2 people say that.
I've heard a few
You're
people
one
say
of
it,
them.
but I didn't say that.
But you did.
No,
No,
but
I was physically in a conversation when you said that.
that it shouldn't even be nominated is what I said.
No, you said it should have been nominated.
Nope.
Nope. Pretty sure.
The
Yep.
other person we were with said that.
No.
Jen said that.
Well, Jen also said that,
No.
but you agreed with her.
No, I think it's a very good movie. It's a very good documentary about a subject that we all love and cherish, but it's not an inventive or daring documentary. It's just a documentary.
Right,
The subject,
but that's
the
why we're saying it
subject
should have been
matter,
nominated.
Mr. Rogers. If that movie, if the documentary was about somebody else that you didn't care about, then this wouldn't even be a conversation we were having.
Well, then it probably also isn't a documentary that gets made.
No, but you know what I mean. Like if it's a documentary on, I don't know, the guy who invented fertilizer, like chemical
JP
grade,
Fertilizer.
yeah, chemical grade fertilizer.
Yeah.
You know, like, but it's the same, setup of like style. It doesn't do anything new or inventive or crazy, or it's just a documentary. It's Mr. Rogers that makes it great, and so, but that's not what makes a best picture. Yeah. Yourself, whatever.
I didn't see
Yeah,
any
it's
of
'cause
it. It's fine.
You didn't see it?
No.
Really? I thought you did.
Nope.
Oh, all right. Well, I don't know why I'm having this conversation with you.
I don't know either.
Best foreign language film was given to Roma.
Right.
Do you feel like they did that to shut people up? Or did it actually deserve best picture? Or are we fine with it?
I mean, I didn't see any of the other ones in this category. I wanted to see Cold War.
Yeah, me too. Because I got nominated a few times.
Yeah. But I liked Roma, so I'm fine with it getting best foreign film.
I'm glad it won something.
I was kind of surprised when they nominated it both in this category and best picture.
Well, it's like Life is Beautiful. Bad comparison, but it was nominated in its own way. But it was nominated for best foreign film and
Was
best
it?
picture. Pretty sure.
I thought he was nominated for best actor.
Is that there was another one recently that did this where it was nominated for best foreign film and best picture, and it won best foreign film. Was Pan's Labyrinth wasn't nominated, right?
No, I don't think so.
That's a travesty. Great film. Best animated feature. You hated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse because you hate great things.
Because I hate stuff that is done badly.
You hate good things, as people who listen to this podcast are well aware. That it's not a mystery.
Oh yeah, it did win best foreign language film.
So based on, I was right.
I mean, this is the first time for everything.
Hey. Based off of also Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, which you didn't see, Mirai and Ralph Breaks the Internet. What's your
Mirai
choice?
should have won.
Did you see it?
Yes.
No,
it was
you're a
great.
liar. Nope, you had a second hesitation. You're a liar.
Nope,
You're a
I
liar.
did.
The only
It was
one you
great.
saw is Spider-Man, I think. Did
No,
you
I
see
saw Incredibles 2,
You
and I
did
saw
see that.
Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Oh yeah, that movie is so bad and forgettable.
Ralph Breaks the
It
Internet?
was so boring.
But so was
It doesn't-
Incredibles 2.
It doesn't even. I liked Incredibles 2 more than the first one. Slightly unpopular opinion. I'd find.
It's just the same thing as the first one.
No, it's not.
It really is. It's the same exact movie with the roles switched.
Yeah, but I find her more interesting than Mr. Incredible.
Well, that's besides the point.
I find Elastigirl more. She's a more interesting character to me. So maybe that's why I like the second one more.
I
But
mean, it's
anyway,
possible.
Spider-Man is an incredibly smart film. I don't care if you liked it or didn't like it. Nobody's disagreeing here. I'm pretty sure the people who lost agree that Spider-Man should have won.
No. They definitely don't.
I think they do. Best original screenplay given to Green Book over The Favorite, First Reformed, Roma, and Vice.
First Reformed, Vice, Roma, and what was the other one?
I don't know which one he says, so I'll just say them again. Green Book won over The Favorite, First Reformed, Roma, and Vice. Those are your choices.
I actually saw everything in this category.
Oh, you saw First Reformed.
I did.
How was it?
It was okay.
Okay, great.
I don't.
When
I
Palmer
honestly.
says things are just okay, that's where we're equal. When that's where we're the same.
Did you
almost.
did you watch First
No,
Reformed?
no.
Here's the thing: is It's good. Ethan Hawke is good in it. The movie takes sort of strange twists and turns that I just wasn't on board with.
Sure. Okay.
So I don't understand why it's as beloved in the Twittersphere Film Critics Society. Because I saw a lot of people like upset that it wasn't nominated for virtually anything. It did get a few awards at the Spirit Awards, I believe. But I think my biggest problem with the movie would have been the story, so I'm fine with it not winning.
Paul Schrader likes his twists and turns, though. Last Temptation of Christ, Taxi Driver, those are twist and turny kind of films.
Yeah.
So and well-loved twist and turny films. Well, maybe not Last Temptation of Christ, but certainly Taxi Driver. So I don't know. Though I like Last Temptation of Christ. It's real weird, and I dig it. When Jesus is just there and he's like holding up an axe and he's like, I believe in this. And you're like, oh, Jesus. I mean, what are you doing over there? Do you remember that part of the film at all?
I haven't seen the entire movie.
It's so
but
weird.
I remember that from Evening with Kevin Smith.
Yeah, that's the part. It's a literal part of the movie. My favorite part is the end, though, because Jesus is like saved from the cross by God, where he's like, hey, it's a spoiler. He's like, God's like, hey, you're my son, but you're not the Messiah. So I'm going to save you from this cross. And then Jesus goes on to marry Mary Magdalene and live his life.
Mary Magdalene?
Mary Magdalene. Yeah. Yeah.
Her middle name is Mary?
Marry. He weds her.
Ah.
Yeah, that helps.
Yes, that does help.
Yeah, sorry. Not a double speaker. Sorry. Mary Magdalene. And Jesus comes across St. Paul preaching about the resurrected Christ, and Jesus pulls him aside. He's like, that's me. Like, you're lying to people. Like, and Paul is like, but it doesn't matter if that's you or not, because it's the resurrected Christ that matters to people. I don't care if you're real or not real. I'm giving people hope and faith and love and all these things, and that's what matters. Whether you're the Son of God or not, or the Messiah, doesn't matter. He's like, I'm glad I met you. But it all turns out that's the last temptation of Christ. The whole movie is about him getting tempted by the devil multiple times before he accepts his fate on the cross. And so, like, him getting taken down from the cross and not being the Messiah and all that is the devil's last temptation while he's on the cross. So then it flashes back to him on the crucifix, and he's like, oh, it is done. And that's the end of the film.
You do realize we have to watch this movie, right?
Yeah, I can't wait. It's great. I can't believe you've never seen it. It's Willem Dafoe as
right.
Jesus.
I've tried watching it. I think I've made it through half of the 14-hour runtime.
You haven't watched it with me geeking out while the movie's on, so you're missing an experience. I bet everybody on this podcast is like, I gotta watch this movie.
No one's saying that right now.
No one. No, there's like one person,
right,
who's like not angry that Jesus is just holding an axe, being like, I believe in this now. I believe in murder by axing. Anyway, best original screenplay, Green Book. I'm gonna say this once because
will you?
Yeah, just once. Despite its what I believe to be many iffy things inside the script, like a white man teaching a black man how to be black. It's kind of weird. That's the thing that happens in Green Book. Teaches, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever. Moving aside from that, just structurally speaking, from beginning to end, it's a very tight, well-written thing in a cyclical story. Like, just even small things like Dr. Shirley, when we first meet him. So, like, we meet Tony at the beginning. He's passively racist, right? He, like, takes the cups out of the sink that the guys in his kitchen worked on, and he puts them in the trash. Passively racist. We meet him, Dr. Shirley, and he, like pushes down his racism and his, I guess, or whatever, to, like, work for this man. In their first meeting in Dr. Shirley's Carnegie apartment, they are separated by levels. Dr. Shirley is on a stage in literally a throne talking to Tony Lip in a chair, right? That's their first interaction together. And then they are always separated in the car by the front and the back. And then when he's performing, he's on the stage, still on the stage. Tony's outside in the, like, playing craps or whatever. They're always separated. When they finally come together in a moment where they're forced to be together, not separated by a table or a car or a bench or a stage, anything, they're in a jail cell together, right? They are literally locked in together, forced to confront themselves in their own way, right? As they've slowly been doing this whole time. And then by the end of the film, we're not spoiler for Green Book. We're not in Dr. Shirley's apartment anymore. We're in Tony's apartment, where they embrace as brothers in arms, as friends. They are on equal footing to celebrate in a family holiday together, right? And so you start with them separated by levels and thrones and literal distance to the moment where they are together on equal footing to ground. And this film slowly builds to that place as the film is really about Dr. Shirley saving Tony, in my opinion. Not everybody's. But that was my read on the film. It's not about Tony saving Dr. Shirley. It's the other way around. You could argue it's a bit of both. Some of it's done very cringeworthy and some of it's real nice. But at the end, that's, structurally speaking, as a script, that's why it wins. Like, because it's just very tightly plotted, put together very well. Where some of the other ones, The Favorite, which I enjoyed, but some of it doesn't exactly, some of the script doesn't exactly work. First Reform I didn't see. Roma is so personal, I think that it's sometimes unobtainable for some. And then Vice, which I loved, but is a little muddled in the middle.
So I hate to completely destroy your dissertation of the Green Book screenplay.
Sure.
But they're together on equal footing with no distance separating them, like 20 minutes before that jail scene.
You talking about when?
When they're at a party and the guy is introducing them.
Sure, but you have to think, but it's not just about like them standing in frame together, because they've been in frame together before that. That's not.
No, but you're saying like every time they're in frame together, something separating them, or
no,
there's levels. No, these two are on the same level, shoulder to shoulder.
Sure, I'll rephrase, because they're like, sometimes they're in like, they're walking out of the hotel together in the same frame on the same level together, but they're not. But there's still a power shift in dynamic, whether it's in the dialogue or it's in even just their height difference or whatever. They're never exactly together, ever. And that's whether you're seeing it or they're saying it. And I think that's where the script part comes in, because if we're talking about just what they look like on screen, that's not the script, that's the cinematography. But it all works together. So that's my structural analysis of Green Book. I have more things to say about Green Book, but I'm going to wait till we get to the Best Picture.
So let's continue.
Okay. Best Adapted Screenplay, BlacKkKlansman won. Ballad lost to Buster Scruggs, Can You Ever Forgive Me, If Beale Street Could Talk, and A Star Is Born.
Yeah, I'm good with BlacKkKlansman. It was really good.
It was great.
It was written very well.
Written real well. The scene particularly that they showed for Adam Driver, I think for his nomination, not for the writing, but when he talks about not growing up Jewish at all, and here he is denying it, and he's starting to question himself for denying it in the first place. Like, some of the writing is like real funny and real on point, and some of it just hits you right in the gut. And but not in a maybe like an overt hit in the gut, more like I tapped you around the side before I ran away and my invisibility cloak kind of hit you in the gut, something like that. Yeah, good for him though. Good for Spike Lee.
Yeah, I was really happy that Spike Lee finally won.
Finally. Best Supporting Actress, Regina King for If Beale Street Could Talk.
Yes,
I'm fine because I just love Regina King, and I don't know if it's just like
Nope,
I
she
didn't
should
even
have
see Beale
absolutely
Street,
won.
and I was like, yeah, give
Yeah.
it to her. She's the best.
She really is.
Yeah, Amy Adams was good in Vice. She wasn't my favorite, and same for Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz in The Favorite. They were good. They're always good. But they weren't win an Oscar good this time around. I'd be more inclined to give it to Rachel Weisz.
Emma Stone has never win an Oscar good.
Tell that the Oscars last year.
I did. Trust me, I did.
Too late. And then Marina di Tavera for Roma, I think was really good. But I sometimes these awards go to people beyond their film.
So
Right?
she was the sister, right? Or the
Sophia. And honestly, she was the sister? I don't remember. I haven't seen Roma in a little bit.
right?
So,
Because they were both nominated, right?
Mhm.
So obviously, yeah, the lead actress would have been the actress who gets pregnant in the movie. I mean, the sister doesn't have. I believe it's her sister.
yeah, that's Yalitza you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a lot to do in the movie. Like the stuff that she's in there for, she's good, but I don't think she ever really drives anything. So while I'm good with her being nominated because what she had to do, she did well.
What I will give her though is she feels like an authentic person
Yes.
in that, and like I cannot say that about Emma Stone or Rachel Weisz in their films, or even Amy Adams in its
Or
own
in
way.
real life.
It feels like acting, whereas Marina like feels like she's a person.
She is.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people in Roma are like that. They just feel like they're people, and that's not easy.
No.
By any stretch.
But I was really happy with Regina King.
Okay, so best supporting actor, Mahershala Ali won for Green Book. Adam Driver lost to Adam Driver, Black Klansman. Sam Elliott, Star is Born. Richard E. Grant, Can You Forgive Me, and Sam Rockwell in Vice.
Yeah, Mahershala Ali. All day.
Mahershala Ali is just
All day.
he's-
Every day.
I tweeted out he could win all the awards forever, all the time, and I'll be happy
Yeah.
because he's good in friggin' everything.
Yeah.
And he's not just good; he's great in everything.
Yeah.
I honestly did not understand why Sam Elliott was nominated for A Star Is Born.
Because he's Sam Elliott.
I guess
If he's in a movie, you got to nominate him. Otherwise, he'll beat you.
maybe that's it. His mustache comes flying at you.
Yep.
Same even with Adam Driver, who I like a lot.
No,
He's
Adam Driver
always
should
good.
just never be nominated.
I didn't feel his performance in Black Klansman was spectacular.
No.
He was good.
He was overshadowed by pretty much everybody else.
I kind of disagree, though. I think that what's his name as David Duke was like, it was just great.
Yeah.
What's it? Topher
Like,
Grace.
Yeah, like why wasn't if you're going to nominate somebody, why? Maybe it's because of the character, but why don't you that should have been nominated?
Yeah, I don't think it was because of the character, but maybe he just felt a little bit too much like you're watching Topher Grace be David Duke, as opposed to.
See, I
don't feel
I
that
know it's
way,
Topher Grace, but if you didn't if I didn't know it was Topher Grace going in, I would sit there and be going who is this guy?
Yeah, and I could say the same thing about Sam Rockwell in Vice, who's very good, but I don't think it's his best performance.
No,
I think last year was better.
He just reminded me of his character in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, the president there, the other president, president of the galaxy. Kinda.
Yeah.
I kind of know what you're talking about. Hey, how you doing there? Yeah, good to see you. Yeah, a little bit. It's just I didn't see Can You Ever Forgive Me, but Richard E. Grant needs to be a household name. He is just
Because he's British.
No, he's just so good, and he's like a late bloomer character actor. You know what I mean? Like he was took a long time for him to show up in things, but he's just so good.
Name another movie.
He was in Logan. He was in A Series of Unfortunate Events for a few episodes. What else? You weren't expecting me to do that. And then
No, I was waiting
you.
for you to actually name something that I'd remember him from.
Well, you hate good things, so What else can I help you with?
You hate love. It's fine.
I don't hate love.
We all accept
I'm
each
getting
other's
married
flaws,
in a matter
even though I
of
don't have
months.
any.
I don't hate love. You've seen The Little Vampire. He was in that.
No, I haven't. That's the Jonathan Lipnicki one, right?
He was in Corpse Bride, or he was voicing Corpse Bride.
That's not helping.
Trying to think of looking at things you would have seen. Did you see The Iron Lady?
Nope.
Did you see About Time?
I did. I don't remember it.
Do you remember the play?
Wait, is he the
he's
the
he's
director or writer?
No, he's the lawyer. Who
No, I
forgets
meant the
his
writer of
line.
those movies.
No, that's. Oh my God, no.
I love doing
have
this to you.
Richard Curtis.
Okay.
You're thinking of.
Well, at least it was Richard.
Oh, you saw Nutcracker in the Four Realms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was he in
the
Nutcracker?
Snow Realm King Shiver, if that helps.
No, not even a little.
Okay. Well, it's too bad. You're missing out. Richard E. Grant is great.
Okay. I'll believe you.
Okay, great. That's never happened before.
I mean,
Are
I'm
you
not really
sick?
believing you.
Oh,
I'm just
all right. It's like when you brush shoulders with somebody at the grocery store. You're not really sorry.
Right.
Because nothing really bad happened. You just accidentally grazed shoulders. Right.
You're just trying to throw them off the trail that you just pickpocketed them.
Right, of course. Yeah, obviously. You've got to pick a bucket or two, boys. Best Actress, Olivia Colman for The Favorite.
Nope.
Give her all the awards.
No.
She was so
She
good.
she probably had one of the most entertaining speeches of the night, but no.
She did. She's like, oh, wrap it up. It was great.
Yeah.
No, why don't you like? Why not? Did you see The Favorite?
I did. It was decent. It was better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, that's good. That's progress.
But
for
it
you.
was still too dry.
But what does that have to do with her performance? Because you
I
didn't
just meant the entire movie was dry.
oh no, she was. So who would you have given it to?
Somebody else. Name 'em.
Elisa.
Oh, wait. This is Best Actress?
Yeah.
Oh, Lady Gaga.
Really?
Yep. As much as I hate that movie, there are two things I like about it. The Shallow and Lady Gaga.
Yeah. See, she's good in it, but when it comes to her, like emotional, like raw time towards the end of the film, didn't believe it. Not for an instant.
It's because you hate good things.
No, you hate good things.
No.
Yeah, you honestly, I'm pretty sure you hate good things.
Nope.
Yep.
Lady Gaga, maybe Glenn Close, although I haven't seen.
Palmer, what was your second? What was your second favorite movie of last year?
I'd have to look it up.
That would be Midnight Sun. I remember.
I don't think Midnight Sun was number 2.
Well, it's not helping.
I mean, Midnight Sun was like 3 or 4.
No, it does not.
So
does not
who else was nominated?
Yalitza Aparicio for Roma, Glenn Close
She
for
was
The
really
Wife, Lady Gaga for Stars Born, and Melissa McCarthy for Can You Ever Forgive Me?
Nobody saw it. Can you ever forget me?
No, I don't think anybody did. It didn't
'Cause it
play
didn't come out
around
around here.
It
It didn't
play
come out around here,
Not
you're right.
even close. And I remember seeing a
Not
trailer
even
for
after
it.
the
We
nominations.
went to the movies, and there was a trailer for it, as there always is a trailer, and they never played the movie.
Right. My second film of last year was Life Itself.
Ugh, that's not helping you. It's not.
No.
Wait,
Watch it.
Is that the girl in the bubble?
No.
No, the girl in the house
Again,
bubble?
that's everything, and that was like 14 years ago
It
by
was
this
not
point.
14 years ago. She hasn't
No.
even been alive.
That was
for
the one
14
with
years.
Inigo Montoya, Mandy
Did I prepare to
Patinkin,
die?
and Oscar Isaac.
Oh, right. What'd you
Yeah.
call it? The Peruvian, like, what did you call it?
I didn't call it that.
You called it something
I would never use the word Peruvian.
for somebody from Peru.
I don't know who's from Peru.
Oscar Isaac is from Peru.
No, I didn't know
I'm
that.
pretty sure he's from Peru.
I don't know.
Yeah. Almost positive.
Okay.
I'll look it up later.
Best supporting actor.
We already did that.
Did we?
Green Book.
Best actor.
There you go. Rami Malek won for Bohemian Rhapsody. He won over Christian Bale for Vice, Bradley Cooper for Stars Born, Willem Dafoe for Eternity's Gate, and Viggo Mortensen for Green Book.
It was Christian Bale's award.
Christian Bale's award. I think it's the only award that like actually made me angry.
Yeah.
Like,
It didn't make me angry, but here's the thing. They had to give it to Rami Malek.
explain. Because he had a shit time making that movie?
No. I mean,
He did.
I don't really.
Sure. And that aside,
That should not,
film politics aside, tell me why.
because the only way you can justify nominating that movie for any of the awards that it's nominated for, is based solely on his performance.
On Christian Bale's performance.
We're talking about Rami
Oh,
Malek.
I was confused. Okay, yeah. So the only reason you're saying the only reason Bohemian Rhapsody wins anything is because of Rami.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
You can't seriously nominate that for Best Picture
No,
without Rami Malek's performance.
No, I agree with that, but I think like his performance doesn't matter that it wins sound mixing. If that makes sense. Like it doesn't because they blended Freddie Mercury's
but he
voice
is the
with
only
Rami's,
thing.
So some of it is,
All right. So I think it's a very solid, okay movie. Like it is if you look up C- in the dictionary.
That's not very solid. That's close to failing. If you're going for your grad degree, you did fail at a C-.
We're talking about normal school.
Okay.
C- is average. I'm sorry, C+. C+ is what I meant.
C plus is average. Say C is average. Once you get to the minuses, you're starting to tip towards down.
Right.
The
But I would say C+ because there's no like F+ or F-. There's just F.
Who's the teacher here?
I
Who
am.
literally does this
You're a
every
math
day?
teacher, yes.
I'm not a math teacher. I am an English teacher. Otherwise, why would I have a dissertation about
Why is there no E, by the way? Why do you go from D to F?
failing? F for failing.
Fine. Anyway, what were we talking about?
My God. You were talking about Rami's performance.
By the way, C+ is actually smack dab in the middle.
A+.
I just counted it.
Okay, great.
So,
On a regular
so
scale,
this
C
movie is a solid C+.
A C plus is okay. Fine for you. It's a solid C plus.
Right. It's a
That's fine.
solid C+. If anyone is going to make me believe their argument that this is a B- to a B, it's solely because of his performance.
Okay, sure.
And you have to at least be a B to get even considered for Best Picture.
I do not think that's true.
No, you should.
You should, but I think after years of doing this show,
Right.
you should learn that's not a thing.
I know, because there were some movies this year that were not Bs.
Sure, they were A's.
Okay.
It should have gone to Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Rami's great. I think he's really solid.
Right.
I really think it should have gone to Christian Bale. Even though I don't think Vice is the best picture,
Oh, no, it's not.
but I don't think Bohemian Rhapsody is the best picture either. And I really liked it a lot. But I liked it because it's the emotional flair like tricks you with Queen. You know what I mean? Like it's not. It's whatever. So it should have been Christian Bale's. But whatever.
Right.
Best director to Alfonso Cuarón for Roma.
Okay. Liked it.
Spike Lee, Paolo Pulaski, Yorgos Lanthimos, and Adam McKay all lost. I think it should have been Alfonso Cuarón.
Yes.
I agree with that decision. It's interesting that he won Best Foreign Film and Cinematography
And Best Director?
and Best Director, but it's like he won all those things, but it's Best Foreign Film. It's almost like but it's Best Foreign Film. Is that?
Because it is a foreign film.
Yeah.
But that's like saying, that would be like saying if someone won Best Director, Best Cinematography, but it's an animated movie.
That's kind of how I feel. That's.
But you're intentionally looking at something less than just because there's a separate category for it.
Maybe because there is a separate category for it. I wouldn't call it less than.
You know what? Which is fine, because I've been beating the drum. The only reason the animated
opening here,
right?
Yeah.
The only reason the animated thing was created was to give Disney more awards.
Sure.
And if something is a good film,
I mean, truly, they were the only ones pumping out worthy cartoons in the early '90s. Like, really, think about it. Like, what else was coming out around then?
right? But you didn't get that until you don't get Best Animated Film until Pixar comes along.
You don't get Best Animated until Pixar comes along.
Yeah.
But Disney gets nominated. But Disney
right? But Disney kind of owned the original song category back then.
But Disney gets 2 films nominated for Best Animated films nominated for Best Picture. Gets Beauty and the Beast.
I don't count the second one.
The second one is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
That doesn't get nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Look it up.
Best Beauty and the Beast is the first Best Picture for a cartoon. The second is Up, which I don't count because that was when they ballooned to 10 nominations.
Oh, I forgot Up was nominated.
Exactly,
for a regular
because
picture.
there were 10 nominations.
Was he Snow White came out in 19... What year did Snow White come out? 42?
Yeah, sure.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
It gets a special award, but it doesn't get nominated for Best Picture.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs came out in 38. Oh, so it would have been 39. I could have sworn it was nominated for Best
No.
Picture. What?
First animated movie to be nominated for Best Picture is Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, no, it came out in 37, so it would have been 38. But, wow, I could have sworn it was nominated. Maybe it got a special award.
It did, because he got the award with like 7 small statues.
Oh, okay. I knew it had something to do with the Academy.
Yeah,
So
they got a technical achievement award.
At the 11th Academy Awards, the film won an Academy Honorary Award for Walt Disney as a significant screen innovation, which has charmed millions and pioneered a great new entertainment field.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Arguably, yes, we'll give it to them for that.
yeah, Beauty and the Beast is the only animated movie for Best Picture, and then Up comes along after you balloon it to 10, and you kind of have to be like, well, we need to fill 10 nominated slots, which I'm so glad they kind of redacted.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I like the fact that it's like, if there's 10 great movies, we can nominate up to 10. But it'll be somewhere between 5 and 10.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing about that. Sometimes, like, looking at, like, someone, like,
I know.
You know,
there
just-
are some movies that still shouldn't be nominated.
yeah, all
We'll
right,
talk to
so
'em.
here we go. We're in it. We're in Best Picture.
Yay!
now. Yeah,
My
I said
favorite
I wanted to be done in a half an hour.
Yeah, I
and we're
keep telling you,
currently-
I don't know what world you live in.
I just think, well, you know what? You're just such a charming conversationalist that I just love talking to you.
I know.
And having my throat be red raw by the end of the night. You know, just so I can get up.
Red Raw.
Red raw. I wish I named episodes different things because that would be the name of the episode. So anyway,
Just name it a Beer with Geeks episode for no reason.
Red Raw. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the Beer with Geeks episode.
Oh,
on
good.
Friday,
So there you go. Just call it Red Raw.
Red Raw. Anyway. So the nominees were as follows: Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, Roma, A Star Is Born, and Vice.
So how many is
This
that?
many. 1, 2, 3,
I think
4,
it's 7?
5, 6, 7, 8.
8. All right.
8 nominees.
News Academy, you could have done 5 because 3 of these should not be there.
So if I was you,
Yep.
and I was cutting films,
Yep.
let me see. This is fun.
Yep.
Because yesterday it's like, how angry are you going to be? Because I have confetti in one hand and a brick in the other. You know, like, I'm ready. So
Poison pizza.
Okay, so if you had, so there are 8 films, so I have to cut 3.
Yep,
If
cut
I were
3.
you,
Yep.
you would cut Vice, Bohemian Rhapsody. You would cut Black Panther and Bohemian Rhapsody. A Star Is Born. You'd cut.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you were like, Vice, Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm like, if A Star Is Born is not your number 1, you've not listened to anything I've said in the
I
past
don't
6
generally
months.
listen to anything you say. So A Star Is Born is the obvious one, but I
Right.
jumped the gun with Vice because I remember you say we didn't see.
I didn't love
together.
it.
Yeah, I think
I didn't-
maybe you were down on it more than I thought you were.
I mean, I just felt like it was like I've seen The Big Short, and I kind of like The Big Short. Watching it a second time, as you learn in the episode, I
Yes.
come down on it a little bit more, and I felt this was just very Big Short-esque.
Sure,
Like I
He
was
has a-
hoping for
he-
something different,
he
and
has
I
a
didn't get it.
style. I
Right,
mean,
it is, but I was kind of hoping for something
do
different.
you watch a Tim Burton movie and go, "This is too macabre"? I was hoping for
Sometimes,
something
like
different.
Frankenweenie.
Oh, I love Frankenweenie.
I'm talking about the original one,
Oh, like
the one that got him fired from Disney
Oh, sure, yeah.
originally.
No, but the Frankenweenie that he made for Disney,
No,
that
it's
made
great.
The money is great.
We want you to come back, Tim, only if I can make Frankenweenie.
And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Also, can you make Alice in Wonderland?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, it'll be just
Um,
okay.
So, yes, I would get rid of those 3. And 1, because A Star Is Born, I think, is just bad.
Yes,
There's parts that I like about it.
sure. Yes,
The song
Shallow and Lady Gaga.
And Lady Gaga. I'll even give you I even like Sam Elliott's good in it. He's always a good actor.
Sam Elliott's good in everything.
Right.
I don't think he's. I'm glad he didn't win because I don't think he's
Right.
best supporting actor here. But
Bradley Cooper's okay. He's just discount Sam Elliott.
discount Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
That's great. I think he's very solid in it. See there. I could say that I feel there's a lot of hatred for A Star Is Born out there, but I also don't think that's true. That's not true at all. You hate A Star Is Born, and
People we know hate A
I
Star
know
Is Born.
some people who hate it, but I also know a lot of people who love A Star Is Born.
Oh, I don't think it's a it's not like a controversial where it's like 50% of the people love it and 50% of the people hate it. I fully agree that there is the majority out there that love this movie, but you're all wrong.
Sure, but that's how you feel about everybody who doesn't agree with you.
Well, yes, but there's very few times that I would say that here because I try and separate the two. Because you always complain like, we can't lose listeners.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you actually separate these
Yep,
things
I do.
out? This is you separating.
This is
things
me
out.
separating. I
Oh
mean,
my
not today,
God.
but usually I do.
No, the usual.
Today, you're getting the full me.
Okay, great, great.
So, A Star Is Born. I was looking forward to this movie for forever.
Yes,
like
I
the first
recall.
time we saw the
And
preview.
and I didn't have to be dragged to this film, but I didn't really care.
Like every time the trailer came on in the theater for like 52 weeks, I would clap. I was in the movie.
It's so true, but you were though.
I was.
No, I know. People
right.
think that it's like hyperbole or something.
No,
but
no,
it
I was
is
in
not.
the movie, and then I saw the movie, and it was easily the most disappointed I had been all year.
I think you overhyped it for yourself.
Maybe because I mean the same thing happened with the Shallow performance last night. Like that's what I was looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, like literally, just go back to what you listen. Like when I publish this episode, just go back and listen to that segment, and like from an outside perspective,
Right.
You just overhyped the movie.
No, I didn't get the movie that I
that
wanted.
you thought you were going to get.
And then, aside from that, the movie that it tries to be is not the right movie. They should have, and we've talked about this on our best of episode, is I feel this is a extremely toxic relationship
Yes.
that the movie kind of passes off as love and doesn't go too deeply into.
See, I think that is the huge separating distance between us on this film. It is a toxic relationship. I 100% agree with you. I do not think the film wants you to think that that's healthy love. I think it certainly wants you to know that Allie loves Bradley Cooper's character, whose name I can't remember. Bradley Cooper.
Right.
Cooper Bradley.
Discount
Whatever
Sam
his
Elliott.
name is. Discount Sam Elliott. She absolutely does love him, and he loves her, but that doesn't mean that it's a good love. I said this on Twitter. It's like the equivalent of saying like Alan Rickman and Emma Thompson's characters in Love Actually is the model of a good marriage.
Right.
Like, do they love each other? Yes. Yes, they do. But is it a healthy working relationship? No. And those are two distinct things.
I agree with you, but I don't think the movie does enough to dissuade you that this is not a good love.
I disagree.
I think this movie still tries to cling to she's sticking by her man because this is real love.
See, it's not the sticking by thing because she does stick by him. But it's the quote real love thing that I don't get. But I think there's also a huge difference between real love, like even just movie real love, versus what love is actually in the real world. And I think that you're trying to, or other people who don't like it, are trying to box movie love into the movie that's not trying to be that.
Okay.
Like I think that's what it comes down to. Love is like it's not just it's literally a choice. You are making the choice to be committed to this person. Like that's part of being in love. The willingness to continue in that feeling, not light
But-
and airy and fun and
But
nonsense.
in this situation, you should be running as far away as humanly possible.
But that's the thing. If she has made the choice to stay, that's not. I'm not saying that's a good decision, and I don't think the film tells you it's a good decision. By the end of the film,
I think it tries to.
I think the film
Like this is
I
like
think-
borderline Stockholm syndrome.
No, but but here's the thing. I think it depends on the way that you look at the characters. Like what character should you be like? Like when you watch a film, like you want to root for the main character, right? That's generally speaking.
and I do. I try and root for her.
But that's it. But that's the failure right there, where you don't actually have to root for your main characters. Go and watch, I don't know, Fences. Like, are you supposed to root for Troy Maxon? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. By any stretch of the imagination, are you going to root for Troy Maxon in Fences, even though he's fun to watch and it's a great performance by Denzel Washington.
I don't think that's a good example because you're comparing a fictional character to a true life character.
Back up for a hot second. What?
Because Fences is based on a true story.
Fences is not based on a true story. We've
yes,
gone
it
over
is.
This. No, you can go back and listen to the episode where we've talked about Fences.
I don't listen to episodes.
It is not based on a true story. He
Continue.
wrote a cycle of plays that all take place in Pennsylvania. It is Pennsylvania. Is it Pittsburgh? The Pittsburgh cycle. Might be the Philadelphia cycle. It's one of those. Pennsylvania should really differentiate their big cities with different letters.
Nah, that's fine.
But no, it could be. It's maybe say like based on true feelings, but that's not. Troy Maxon is not a real person, and never was a real person. And so, no, they are not the same. No,
I'm pretty sure it was.
Will you just?
I thought it was about her father.
We've done this before.
Yes, but that was like years ago.
But there's also, but every author has the ability to base their characters or part of their story off of experiences from their own life, but that doesn't make it based on my life or based on a true story. Those are different things. Like based on a true story is Green Book, right? Based on a true story doesn't mean that it has to be historically true. It's based on a true story. But being influenced by your life is a kind of a different writing style. It's a different category. So going back, you don't root for Troy Maxon. Even if Troy Maxon was a real person, you don't have to root for him because he was a real life human. That's not how the world works.
No, but if he was a real life human, there's a difference between a movie taking that approach.
Sure. Yes, I'll give you that. Except films, by no stock of their own, have to be true to life in the sense of fact.
So going back to the Lady Gaga,
Sure.
Allie, right?
Allie, yes.
Allie. So going to Allie, you root for her to become a singer. Like that's what she wants to do.
You root for
her to become a singer. She does. You root for her to become famous. She does. You root for her to get the hell out of that relationship, and she doesn't.
But you also, but you're missing part of her journey that she is losing herself by not listening to him, because it's like that's the part where that gets tricky with some people, and even with me. Like he like says like you got to be true to yourself, and she's not true to herself, and that's where she gets tied up. It's not about her being, oh, I'm a star now. The part of the toxic part of that is that the stardom is what also tears apart their relationship.
No, his alcohol.
Yes, but that's tied to her stardom.
No, he's an alcoholic before that.
Right, but he starts to go clean, but then when she starts to, because of her, but then when she starts to separate and doesn't have time for him because her priorities are shifting and he can't handle that, he goes back to
I don't
the drink.
know.
That's literally
no.
the movie.
and that you have somehow, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying that because.
But are you, though?
No, I'm not. I can 100% guarantee you I am not saying you're wrong in that analysis at all.
Okay.
But what I am saying is, now I didn't go back and rewatch this movie. I didn't go back and rewatch any of the Best Pictures. I've seen them in a nice, tight enough time that I can do it.
Yeah, sure.
But that being said, you actually just made me like this film even less because now it's laying the blame of what happens to him at her feet.
No, it does not.
That is what you just said.
No, I mean, he certainly calls for help from her, and she does not listen to that call. But she also calls to help from him, and he's too wrapped up in himself to help her. That's the thing that I think is like, that's the thing that I think gets me when people say like they don't like the film. You can like or dislike any movie. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I'm more interested in people recognizing whether a film is structurally sound or not. Like whether you liked it or didn't like it,
No
or
one's
agreed with the
that's the
message,
thing.
or but people are. And
No,
that's like-
they're just saying that the structure is bad. Like,
No, but the
structurally it
structure's
is.
good.
Yes, I understand. Like the story structure in that is fine, but the overall message of the film is what people are saying isn't good, and
Sure.
that has nothing to do with the structure.
But I think my point is that the message of a film doesn't have to be good. And I think that's what people are actually getting hung up on, is that they want the film to have a good message. They like need it viscerally, like somewhere within them to be like, it has to end happy. It has to not even end happy, but it has to have a good moral or a good this or a good. But there's no rule that A Star Is Born or that any film has to do that.
No, I'm not upset that it doesn't end happy. I'm upset
You missed
that this
the whole rest of that rant, if that's what you took away from that.
No. Again, my biggest problem with this is the movie has this toxic relationship as the center of the movie, which is fine. And the fact that that's never, like, she doesn't break away from that and it kind of drags her down. Okay. But this movie, I still think, tries to skate by on having this toxic relationship still kind of is glossed over as love. And that's where that's if this was a much more dramatic and I would say darker film.
It's pretty dark.
I mean, it is, but if this was a darker film in which you really see those effects, then okay, that's a very heavy movie, but I'm okay with it.
See,
this movie I don't
know what more effects you'd want to see, because I'm pretty sure you see some of the worst of it.
I don't think you do.
Like, truly see some of the worst of it.
You see what she has to deal with, but it's never like the thought is never in her mind that this is dragging me down.
I disagree with that. I don't think that the film, like, she doesn't turn to the camera and say,
she should.
This is bad for me. Because that's not how people act. That's not real life.
I do.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I'm always turning to the camera.
You always turn to the camera, even when there's none there.
Right.
Yeah. That's not how people are. People don't see themselves in a bad situation and go, "Oh, this is bad for me." That's not people. That's not how people work at all. It's very easy for us, the audience, to sit in our comfy chairs with our popcorn and go, "Get out, girl. He's bad for you."
Yes.
Yes.
Because that's what you say in real life.
Yes.
You say, "Get out, girl, that's bad for you."
Yeah.
And then you watch them stay, and then you watch them get dragged down. But this movie this movie almost makes it look like it's okay.
I don't think it does. But, I mean, this is, I think, at the end, like, people read into films or stories different ways. You just take different things out of stories. So the story I always tell, which is not about me at all, is that I read an article about a guy
Well, it is about you. You read the article.
I read the article, so it's about me. Read an article about a guy who watched The Exorcist. quote unquote, scariest movie
yeah,
of
yeah,
all time.
yep,
Right?
yep.
I've told this before, but scariest movie of all time.
Or funniest.
Or funniest. No. Scariest movie of all time, blah, blah, blah. He watches it in his early 20s. Not scary at all. Wasn't scared. Didn't matter. Didn't understand why the movie was scary. And then has children. Watches the movie again 10 years later. Scariest movie he's ever seen. Because his perspective has completely shifted. Because the story of The Exorcist is not scary in a way because, like, oh, a girl gets possessed. And, like, she does weird and creepy things. And she says she knows your darkest secrets or whatever. She can spit out soup, whatever. It's scary because what if this was your kid? What if this happened to you? Stephen King says the scariest book he ever wrote was Pet Sematary. And not because, like there's zombies or, like anything. It's because it's about a kid dying under a parent's watch, and there's nothing they could do to stop that. It's about his like a 2-year-old son dying, and that's the scariest thing. And what do you do in that grief, in that place where you can't? And then if you know you have the power to fix it, but not fix it well, do you still go through that?
No,
that's
because I've seen Pet Sematary.
Right, exactly. But it's Pet Sematary. But that's the scary part of the story. But if you're not a parent, it's not scary for you in the same way. It's like you can get it. You can almost like conceivably understand why it's scary. But I think A Star Is Born is the same. I think A Star Is Born in some ways is the same thing. And it could work either way. It could work as you've been in toxic relationships and you're looking at Allie and you're looking at Cooper Bradley, whose name I don't remember, so I'll call him that. And you go, oh no, that's bad. I know what you need to do here. This movie's dumb because it doesn't react to a situation I've been in before. Or it could go the other way, and you've never been in a situation anywhere remotely close to that, and not connect with them and be like, get out, girl, he's bad for you. I don't get why you stayed with him. But never living that situation yourself without the fame or without the this, but like the emotional abuse. And if you just don't get it, you don't get it. And I think that's where the divisive part comes in, and that's where it's tricky to tell people, like, this film works or this film doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, your own personal experience informs the story.
So the last thing I will say about this, and I will go back to your Exorcist analogy.
Okay.
Like, what would you do if that was your kid? And I'll tell you the same thing.
I'd throw them out the window. No,
I'll tell you the same thing that I've told every woman on the first date. If that were to happen, the kid is up for adoption in 5 minutes. No, I'm done.
I tell your story of like what to do in a haunted house situation at least twice a month to somebody when haunted houses come up. I'm like, I've got a friend. So like, if you walk into a house and you see "Get Out" written in blood on the wall, you just leave.
Yeah.
Or if you're home alone and there's a weird noise that's not like the furnace turning on,
right,
or your dog making
you're
noise,
gone.
you just leave.
Yep.
There are plenty of motels to stay in that are not the base motel. You'd be fine. Like,
I mean, to be fair, that whole like the Get Out thing, it's from a Eddie Murphy sketch.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, stand up. He's like, black people. You never see black people in a horror movie. Because, we walk in and be like, oh, honey, this house looks great. The walls are painted nice. The kitchen's great. Get out. Too bad we can't stay, though.
That's good. It is funny. Eddie Murphy is a smart man.
Yep. All right. So what were some of the other movies that were nominated this year?
Oh, my God. That was just...
Well, we got to get to Green Book. So
Stars. That was only A Star Is Born. Thank God I don't have other things to say about other movies this way. Vice was...
It's good.
It's purely on... I mean, I think it works on a lot of different levels. Tons of them. But it doesn't work without Christian Bale's performance.
Absolutely not. Christian Bale's really good in it. I didn't connect with it the same way you did, but this is a movie that I can honestly say, like, if someone came up to me and they said, this movie's really good, I'd be like, okay, I can believe somebody believing that.
I think the important thing, like you see Best Picture or like New York Times best-selling list or, the greatest classics of all time. You can't like everything. Not everything is meant for everybody.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's subjective.
Yes. But there are some things like you just can't wrap your head around,
Yeah, sure.
and this I'm okay with.
That I agree. I agree with the head wrapping, but like that's why I'm like such a stickler for is like structurally, is this film solid? Do the components that make a great film objectively, just objectively, does the script work? Does the cinematography work? Does the sound editing work? Like all of it together, making a great film. That's like whether you liked it or didn't like it is almost irrelevant,
Right, and
in
taking
that way.
all those pieces, would I have, when I get my ballot for the Academy to nominate movies,
Yep.
does this make my ballot? No. It's not that far off. I mean, like
Yeah.
if it's a down year, I can see some of the reasons why this movie gets nominated. But it's just not my nomination.
Yeah. Yeah. We already did A Star Is Born, Roma.
Roma looks really good, shot beautifully. I don't feel it's acted well.
It's hard to connect to.
You know, the overall story arc is kind of broad,
Very. Yeah.
and it kind of gets narrow as the movie goes on. So I will say, I wish there was a tighter through line than half the movie building to what happens.
Sure. Someone described it as the most expensive home movie ever made, in the way that it's like it's so personal, and you maybe don't have a through line outside of this is the life of the family.
Right.
That sometimes just the story gets a little lost because it's a slow build to just like you're basically peering in on a family without their like knowledge.
Right.
It's like almost candid camera, or Truman Show esque.
But and I think that's what he was going for, and he really achieves it well.
I agree, but for every component to work, I think narratively it's actually missing. To me, it's missing a couple of beats.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean that's basically it. It's a really good film, and I would recommend it to almost anyone. Yes, it's subtitled, but
Yeah, but who cares?
there's some people who just can't watch subtitles.
I have bad hearing, so I have to put closed captioning on for
Right,
everything.
me too.
So I don't really
Yeah,
care.
but
if
there
it's
are just some
subtitled
people
or
who can't do subtitles.
Yeah, those people
And-
don't know how to read. No,
It's not that, and I felt this when I was watching Roma a couple of times. Sometimes it's just difficult to read and then also see the picture at the same time.
Yeah, I think the more you do it, the more you get used to it.
Yeah.
But it is its own special skill.
Yep.
And closed captioning is not the same as watching a foreign film.
Exactly.
Because you can still hear. The closed captioning is there to support you.
Exactly.
But it's not your focus. It's
Yeah.
it's a different thing. The Favorite.
It was good. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. It was funny. It was just a little too dry, a little too Britishy.
Yorgos is a hit or miss director for me. I loathed The Lobster. It was not for me by any stretch of the imagination. Killing the Sacred Deer was middle of the road, but I loved The Favorite. I don't know why.
Because you love British movies.
Sometimes I hate British movies,
No,
though.
I've yet to find one.
Do you remember our conversation about Sense and Sensibility?
I don't remember our conversation about A Star Is Born, okay?
Okay, that's true. You literally don't. The original and this one.
I still haven't seen the original.
Yes, you have.
I don't know.
No.
Unfortunately, there's no proof.
There is. It's called this podcast. I think it's really fun and dark and smart and shot interestingly, but there's a kind of a it's a little bit of a miss in some respects. It doesn't have all the pieces I want to be a best picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's missing something.
It's missing a better script.
it's missing a better script. No, I think the script is actually the thing that is maybe it's one of its strongest components.
See, I don't think there is.
No, I think it loses it a little bit through the course of the film.
I think the beginning it starts off strong.
Oh yeah, when she unveils the palace and she's
That's great.
it's like,
That is one of my favorite films.
it's
Yeah.
so good. It's
Oh,
just
I
like,
didn't.
it's-
We still have to keep fighting.
We
I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that. We won the war. No, we have to still keep fighting. Oh, okay.
That was really good.
So good.
And when Emma Stone kind of figures out like the way to kind of get by for her life is to become ingratiated with the queen.
Sure. Well, because she used to be an aristocrat.
Right. But I think that is kind of the moment the film starts taking a downward turn.
So the
and
plot.
I'm not. Well, here's
The
the thing.
major dramatic question. If you were to writing a script, that's
Right.
the major dramatic question.
Correct. And I'm not saying that it's a bad question. I just don't think it's executed as good as it could have been.
I don't disagree with you by any stretch.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I liked the concept. The execution fell flat.
More Nicholas Holt. It's my.
Probably not.
He was fine. This.
Yeah.
He was different.
Yeah.
He was the thing. Bohemian Rhapsody. We've already talked about.
Yeah, we talked about it. Rami Malek gives a good performance.
I think it's great. It's not a Best Picture. Actually,
it's not.
Truly though, in some years doing this show, sometimes it's a Best Picture.
Oh yeah. This again is a solid C+. My issue with this is it's a very sanitized movie.
It's so sanitized.
And because I know it was sanitized, because I know people were let go on this project because Queen didn't want a lot of
bad press.
dirt. No, a lot of the dirt that went on to be known.
Yeah.
That they kind of sanitize this movie is what really gives this film a bad taste for me.
I can see that, but I think I said this to you, but like when looking at a movie, I've said this on the podcast before. It's like the movie should be able to stand on its own, and so like one should be able to put that aside to say this movie's good like on its own or bad on its own. Like you should be able to turn it on without knowing. It's like the Christopher Nolan style. Turn it on, you know nothing, and after 2 hours, or if it's Christopher Nolan, 4 hours, that
will only feel like 2 hours.
That will only feel it because he's a beautiful man. You say that was good or that was bad. Here's why.
Right.
And I think knowing like Queen wanted to sanitize it or whatever, it shouldn't play a factor. Shouldn't it does?
Right.
But it shouldn't play a factor into whether the movie was good or not.
No, but even taking that out, this is an okay movie.
Yeah, I think it's a very good movie. I don't think it's Best Picture movie.
Yeah,
I think it's very good, but it's not Best Picture. And that brings us to
Black
Klansman, which is a very strong movie.
Yes,
with
a movie I enjoyed much more than I thought I was.
Yeah, I agree. More than I thought I was going to.
Because initially, it's based on a true story, but the trailers seem like it could go really farcical.
Yeah, the trailers played it as farce, but it's really not.
Like it is. It has some really good comedic moments, but it can be a very heavy movie too, especially at the end.
I think it plays its tones well. It meshes between them. It could get very tricky, and it plays them very well. I think it's subtly creative cinematically. Oh my God, what's his name? They say it so many times. The main character, that guy, Roy, whatever. No, God, what is his name? It's bad. It's bad.
It is.
I mean, I also don't remember. To be fair, I also don't remember any of the names from any other film.
It's true. You didn't remember Bradley Cooper.
Ron Stallworth.
Yeah.
Ron Stallworth. When Ron Stallworth, the real Ron Stallworth, is talking to David Duke, they always, when they're on the phone with it, it's always at a Dutch angle, like that tilted, like Batman 66, like the villains are crazy, so the camera's tilted thing. It's always at a Dutch angle, but it is an eye level. It's an eye level, straight on its axis camera, straight on a shot when Ron reveals who he really is to him at the end of the film.
Yeah.
So they always have this warped relationship because the camera tells you that until the end when he sets the record straight as the camera is straight. It's stuff like that some of these other films are missing. Like when I say you don't have to be the best in every category to be Best Picture, but you have to be they all have to be very good. You don't have to have the greatest actors. You don't even all need to be nominated if you're a strong support system. Spotlight is a great example of this, right? Tons of strong actors working together as an ensemble, and that's it.
Yeah. No one overshadows anybody.
Nobody. And you could only argue that maybe Mark Ruffalo does because his character is given the most to do emotionally. Right. But that's just a story point. It's not really about the actor, because if somebody else was given more emotion, they from their character, then from the story, then maybe they would have stood out that way. I think that Black Klansman works in somewhat the similar vein, where everybody's just good. Everybody's good. And it's an enjoyable film. It says the right things at the right times. That's my take on Black Klansman.
Yeah,
it's also got a great way of saying its title. It's fantastic.
It really does.
Yeah.
No, I really enjoyed it. Definitely should have been nominated, and it was a strong contender.
Sure. Black Panther
shouldn't have been nominated and wasn't a strong contender.
I agree. I think that the categories that it won in, I think, deserve them in the categories that other things that they were nominated with. Apart from production design, though, I get it. Just to me, feels like a set, not a big deal at the end of the time. But I think it's missing all of those other elements to make it a Best Picture. The visuals are, in some scenes, are great. A lot of times, it's very okay. It's very okay. Yeah. The acting is good. Some of them are great. And then others are fine. Angela Bassett is magnificent because she's Angela Bassett, and some of them are fine. They're
Surrey is great. I will give you that. I love Surrey.
Oh, she's great. Shuri, not
Shuri.
Yeah, not Surrey, not like the place. Shuri, Shuri.
There's a place called Surrey.
Yeah, Surrey. It's
over
in
there,
England, and also it's a place in the city, New York City.
Really?
Yeah. Surrey. It's like a little neighborhood, like Greenwich Village or something like that.
I thought that was Soho.
Okay, then that's just a place in England.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway,
she's great.
She's great. Oh my God, not Martin Freeman. Gollum. Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis is fantastic.
That's because you love Andy Serkis.
I love Andy Serkis so much. The movie robbed me of him. Robbed me. Anyway.
That's good, because he was a robber.
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, Andy Serkis is great. But I love Andy Serkis because he's a very talented man and deserves my accolades. I rarely give accolades.
I think you just love him because he's Gollum.
No, I think he's very talented in other aspects.
I'm not saying he's not.
No, but I don't love everybody in Lord of the Rings the way that I love Andy Serkis.
I think you do.
But I don't. We'll see. But I.
So, yeah, this movie, this is a movie that I liked.
You did.
I did.
And you're a Marvel Cinematic Universe hater.
Right. I liked some of the Phase 1 stuff. I really like the Captain America, the first one.
So good.
Probably still my favorite out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff. I did like Iron Man. and this felt very Phase 1.
It's very Phase 1. It's very self-contained. It tells its story.
Yep.
It's not interested in connecting,
Yep.
except when it has to. That's
I
it.
think so. Like I said, I like this movie. I think I would have liked it more if caring about the characters is not the right frame. But I don't read the Black Panther comics.
I can help you here. The movie is interested in its plot more than anything else.
Right.
Not all. Some stories are are plot driven, and some are character driven, and some do a great blend at both. And Black Panther is more narrative driven than character driven.
Right. And I just don't. It takes characters that I'm just not familiar with. I didn't read them growing up.
Okay, but let me ask you this though. But you're looking at that as a comic fan, right?
Correct.
So, but let's say, let's say, a Star is Born. Let's just say.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, that's not because you have a personal connection to Lady Gaga or something. You know what I mean? Like you're a Gaga fan. So take Roma. Actually, Roma's my example. You didn't grow up reading stories of those characters. You know what I mean? But
right.
Why do you have to grow up caring? Do you have to grow up caring about Black Panther to care about Black Panther in his movie?
No, and I'm not saying I didn't care about Black Panther in his movie, but the characters just aren't. It's a comic movie.
Right.
The comic movies I like are the ones that I like the characters of.
You have a
I dislike Thor.
You have a pre-existing of those characters.
Right.
Right.
I dislike Thor.
Right.
Because I don't like Norse mythology. I don't like Chris Hemsworth. There's just a lot about Thor that I dislike.
Sure.
I actively dislike Thor.
Yes, I am aware.
I don't actively dislike Black Panther. I like Black Panther. But I just don't have enough. There's not enough to draw me into the. They didn't do anything with the characters to draw me into the characters to then ultimately care more about the story.
Right. It's plot driven.
Whereas, say, Captain America
is a character. It's character driven.
But it doesn't need to be.
No, but it makes you care about Steve Rogers. You ultimately need him to succeed in the way Black Panther doesn't need T'Challa to succeed. I get exactly what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying. And generally speaking, I agree with you. I don't think that Black Panther is a Best Picture film because of my it needs all the pieces to work together, and I don't think all the pieces. I just don't think all the pieces are there. Mm-hmm. It's weak in some areas, and it's really strong in some other ones. But that doesn't equal out into a Best Picture.
Yeah. I've heard when this movie came out, everyone's like, "This is the greatest Marvel movie villain in the series of movies," and you know what? That's a very low bar.
Marvel doesn't have a great track record with
right.
its villains. I mean, many of them are not outright terrible. They're just mainly forgettable.
Right. And I think people were saying that because people just love Michael B. Jordan.
Sure.
I felt his villain at times is out of place as to what he wants to do.
I don't know if he's out of place, but his acting feels like he's in a different movie. He's a little. Actually, you know what? But I will say it actually depends on the scene. It's very scene dependent for him.
Kind of.
When he's let's say in the throne room and presenting himself to everybody for the first time, I am Eric Killmonger. I am a member of the royal family.
Right.
Blah blah blah. That is to me very over the top. Burn it all that stuff over the top. But when he's in the ancestral plane talking to his dad in the apartment in California. What's it called? What's the city?
Oakland.
Oakland. Thank you. He's terrific. He's like sublime and emotional in the right spots without overdoing it, and it's really, really solid work. But that gets forgotten and put to the side because he's a little too comic book villainy.
Yeah.
In the other places.
And the other thing is, like, there are times it seems like what he wants to do and what he says are sometimes at odds with each other.
Sure.
So,
but I think
so
that might be intentional character work, though. What
then it's just
Magneto,
done badly.
wants to do is very at odds with how Magneto goes about things.
right, but that's not what I'm saying. So his entire thing is he wants to flip. He essentially wants to flip the power paradigm in the world. He wants to raise up the African Americans, and he kind of wants to enslave the white people.
Yes.
Like that's his ultimate goal. Mm-hmm. But then he also has times where he's like, slavery is bad. Like you can't want to enslave a people and then also say slavery is bad.
I agree, but I think that to me is intentional. That's the Magneto
But
aspect
that's
of
badly.
him, where he's like, no one should be. I'm a survivor of the Holocaust. Nobody should be judged for being genetically different from one another. Now I'm going to judge all of you humans for not being mutants. Like that's the hypocrisy of the character. I think that's what makes them slightly more interesting.
With Magneto, Magneto is kind of like Eric Killmonger. He's like, you have held us down for so long because we're different from you.
Right.
Now we're going to rise up and take over.
Yes, it's the Magneto. Yes.
But he doesn't. But like, it's more like this is what's good for the goose is good for the gander. But Magneto's not sitting there also saying, I don't know.
But it kind of is.
I kind of understand your point. I just feel like
It's Killmonger's slightly tweaked version of that, but they come from it's the same concept.
yeah, but I just think they ultimately don't do it as well as they do Magneto's character.
I think it depends on the film and the story for Magneto, but generally, yes, I agree. You've got Killmonger in one film and Magneto in a bunch, so you have more room to say, like, oh, well, Magneto in the first X-Men is, like, that's really well plotted, in the way that he presents his argument versus, say, Apocalypse, which is not, So, to each his own. That's Black Panther. Let's talk about Green Book. We've already talked about it a bit with my structurally speaking component. Green Book is not best picture material. I said it. I dropped the mic.
Okay.
But
we didn't really. It's still on the
I know because it's very expensive. Don't drop these. That's why the sound quality is so good.
Yeah.
The Green Book is, structurally speaking, from its script and its acting, it's very solid on both those things. It's very pretty. It looks good. It's just a movie that way. It's just a movie. It doesn't do anything new or interesting or creative. It just is a movie. To me, this feels like the Academy going, "Ooh, we had the weird choice last year. We had the Shape of Water last year."
Oh, right.
Right, and people were like, "Ew, the fish movie won. That's weird." Even though Shape of Water, whether you liked it or didn't, has all the components to make it the best picture. All of the pieces work beautifully together in tandem from start to finish to make it the best picture. Green Book is missing components. Aside from the iffiness that people are kind of people iffy about, or like,
well, I'll get to that in a minute.
The maybe fluffy racism, as I've been calling it. I'm not really, like.
Okay, so since you brought it up, we're gonna touch on this now.
Yeah,
I think you're missing. I think you're missing a lot of the controversy around it. It's not. There's some out there about the fluffy racism. There's some, and I believe they're wrong.
Okay.
And I'll get to why a little bit later. But the majority of the controversy stems from the people who made it Viggo Mortensen, Farrelly,
Yep.
and Nick Vallelonga. Each one of them have something in their past. There was a instance where Viggo Mortensen used the N-word. I'm not going to talk about this because I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't either.
I just remember seeing something about it, and I never read the article, and I never I want to know what happened because I want to see it. But
see, before you continue, I want to. So, like we talked about, like a film should stand on its own merits.
no, not anymore.
See,
We do that. We on this show we've always kind of said we're judging the movies and we're not
not judging the circumstance,
but this is this year,
sure.
and this isn't like hindsight is 2020.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that a movie just generally should be judged on its own merits. I agree that it's not. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying in the world that the way that it should be judged on its own merits. That's it. But like they tried to correct the Vigo thing in the Academy Awards, like when they accepted their Oscar, they go, "This movie can't exist without that man Viggo Mortensen," right? And people,
but it's not correcting it.
but they, right? But I think that's what I'm saying. But I think that was the attempt, was be like, we support Vigo.
That's a tone deaf.
That I don't disagree. I'm just saying.
But now,
that's
see,
that's the intention.
If that's what their intention is, it's tone deaf. That being said, it could very well be like without Viggo Mortensen, this film's not as good. He's great in this movie.
Vigo's great in every movie,
Right, and eventually he'll win an award.
Sure.
So that's one.
Mm-hmm.
Two, you have Nick Vallelonga, who a couple of years ago retweeted a debunked myth of Muslims cheering in New Jersey on 9/11.
Okay.
He has apologized for it. Okay. And again, he was kind of like, before he was famous, he does this, and now he's being dragged for it.
Sure.
It's not like it happened last week.
Sure, there was a Mel Gibson joke in the middle of the awards that didn't play super well to the crowd.
No, it did.
You see, but it also showed they laughed, but the reaction shots were people not laughing.
Yeah.
So I was confused.
And then Farrelly came out at the time, but had exposed himself on the set of There's Something About Mary, and that kind of got brought up again.
Okay.
So the first part of the controversy are those three people. Second part of the controversy is nobody connected to the movie, not Nick Vallelonga, not Mahershala Ali, nobody connected to this movie reached out to
Dr. Shirley's
family.
I know that.
And they felt like the Dr. Shirley family has been very vocal about this, this movie, this movie is inaccurate and this and that. Now, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not arguing the accuracy or inaccuracy. Nick Vallelonga has said when he talked to Dr. Shirley about this, Dr. Shirley had said, you can write this as a story, wait until I die to put it out, but only get the story from me and your father. We're the only ones who are there. And he had apologized and said, I was honoring Dr. Shirley's wishes. And I'm not going to sit here and say, I think he's lying or he's telling the truth. We're going to assume everything is equal. That being said, if you believe the events in this movie, unless something changed, he wasn't super close to his family.
Right.
So,
sure. Yeah,
there's the whole pull of, should they have reached out to get a more accurate description? Should they not have? That is ultimately up to the people who know what happened to be able to live with.
All right. I'm going to take this a step further because I'm on your side here, mostly. I'm on your side here. It is not a film's responsibility to be accurate. It's not. It's a movie. Based on a true story does not mean a true story.
Yes, but you know the difference?
Yes and no. Like, yes and no. I think a film about a touchy subject, racism,
Yeah.
is a harder sell to not be truthful.
See, I'm not. No. What I'm saying is there's a difference between making a film about Lincoln and making this film. Everyone who knew Lincoln is dead.
No, that's exactly that was.
So you
that's
don't
exactly my
have
point.
somebody. You don't have Lincoln's brother-in-law on Twitter saying he's completely wrong in this movie.
Right. No, that's exactly my point. We coming up in the season, we're going to talk about Braveheart.
Yeah, everyone's dead.
That's not an accurate movie either.
No, not at all. But everyone's dead.
But even those who are kind of around when they were made, like look at Titanic. Not an accurate movie.
No, the boat did sink.
And William Wallace sure did die, didn't he? Like that, Gladiator is a perfect example. Commodus did not die in the Colosseum by a gladiator. His sister killed him when he was in the bathtub. Arguably a better death.
Yes.
That's a different conversation.
And I agree. But again, you don't have relatives of the person
I agree. It's
dragging the film because of it.
It is literally the opposite of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Where the people were like deliberately like, don't put this in.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, I believe the internet will always latch on to negative.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that's the way internet journalism is run.
Not all of it, but that was a general statement. But yeah. Okay.
So
sensationalism.
Right. So there's that. So those are the main problems with the movie. Now, Spike Lee has a problem with the fluffy racism. He sees the movie like Driving Miss Daisy.
Right. Also, Best Picture winner.
Also, Best Picture winner. I agree with you that I don't believe this is a white savior movie.
No,
I honestly believe. I know your point of like they save each other,
right?
But I don't even think that. Like I fully see this movie as Dr. Shirley saving Tony Lip. He definitely aside from Shirley's distance between him and humans,
but that
kind of
right.
That kind of disappears.
That's the thing that Tony helps
right.
him with, right?
He gets Tony to see how he is wrong.
Yes, which is more important.
Which is more important. And this might sound bad, but I believe in today's age, it is easier to change people or to attempt to change people by giving them a better feel-good story about somebody changing and realizing they're wrong than really doing like a very heavy movie.
I would agree with you if the reaction to Green Book winning was different, actually. But this is my counter argument right now. Currently, where we are sitting in the world, I say we generally do not like a redemption story. We want to blame and condemn without ever giving an ounce of mercy or forgiveness. It is, we want the enemy to point at and say, you were wrong, even if it's a long time ago, and you can never make up for it because you did one terrible thing, and that is the end of it. You can never regain yourself from this moment. We refuse. We turn our backs on you. We spit on your face, and call it a day. There is no such thing as forgiveness or mercy. The Green Book is a redemption story for Tony Lip.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets there, his soul is saved or whatever because of Dr. Shirley. So Tony might help Dr. Shirley kind of break out of his shell, that he's built around himself to protect himself and let him know that it's okay to be vulnerable sometimes. But ultimately, it is Tony that is saved in that film, and he is, because his racism is passive, he's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's like the film generally says, like, it's okay to forgive him. Like, that's what the film wants the audience to feel. But because we're living in a non-redemptive time, that does not sit well with people. And we talk about the film being judged on its own merits. And I think a film affecting the culture is a part of its merit, whether it hits the culture or not. And that's why I think Black Panther in some ways earns its nomination, because of its cultural impact. Like Titanic has a cultural impact, things like that. But
so I don't agree with you in your point of we live in a time where people don't like a redemption story. And I'll tell you why. There's people whose sole thing it is on the internet is being negative. Mm-hmm. Always be negative. Always find problems. That is the stock and trade of the internet. Mm-hmm. I believe the general people, the people that I see out there that are willing to drag down somebody, there's also a good amount of people that want to see them get built back up. They want to see them at least atone for what they did before they're allowed to be redeemed.
Sure, but there are always exceptions. But the majority, the loudest, I should
No,
even say,
it's a loud minority.
But it doesn't matter because the volume is what's speaking.
Because the negative thing is always louder than the positive. And that's how it is generally. That being said, I think the biggest issue with this movie, and it's not so much the very negative cacophony, is you have movies like Black Klansman and Black Panther that are trying to say the same things and reach the same plateaus. Mm-hmm. But there's none of the negatives around them.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So I think the biggest problem is just its company in the category. If this comes out in a year where there's no Black Klansman, there's still those negatives, and you'll still hear people complain, but it's ultimately like who they put this movie up against is what's going on.
Sure. I get that. I'm going to hold to my redemption story thing based on your introduction to this movie, in which you have these three guys who have done the things serious, not serious, offensive, not offensive, whatever, however you take it, and we haven't forgiven them.
But they've also haven't been held accountable before. That's the whole thing. Is it's not about the redemption; it's being held accountable before you can be redeemed.
Okay, so then take the Mel Gibson joke in the middle of the awards, and
but you know what? He's been allowed to come back.
Sure, but if you're allowed to come back, can you still then be made fun of in a hateful way?
Yes. It wasn't a hateful way.
I thought it was kind of hateful.
No.
I thought it was...
No.
Yeah. See,
it's a joke.
But there really weren't jokes like that in this award ceremony until then, and there really weren't any after it. It was just in that moment, it didn't fit what was happening. It was a generally very positive experience for everybody in that
No,
like, from
it
and
was,
I just didn't. That's not the point here. But I'm trying to make that. But
you know what? I would kind of agree with you if he came out and made that joke, say, about Viggo Mortensen.
yeah, I even think that would be more timely. I think it was
No, but that's what I'm saying is, I don't like. I would say your point of view on that joke would be my point of view if he came out and said that about
Viggo.
because then it's definitely a political and timely thing.
all right.
Whereas Mel Gibson, it's just the go-to joke now.
It's just the joke that you make.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I'll give you that. But and I get the majority thing and the quiet and the loud and the this and the way it has always been. But like but you have to also look at like what films are resonating with audiences at one particular point and where we are in the culture, and just think like looking at the culture outside of films and saying, like, where is the enemy, right? Because there's always got to be an enemy, right? Whether it's terrorism or it's this or it's this or it's this. The enemy is not an external threat. It's an internal American threat. It's at each other. It's cutthroat at each other all the time. And so that's what I'm saying. We are not living in a time in which, generally speaking, people are loving, forgiving, merciful. None of that. It's a blame and condemn society right now. That's how it is, generally speaking. I am like, there are exceptions, of course. There are always exceptions, those people. But that's the general
I think
tone.
some of that is just the faceless mob on the internet.
But it doesn't matter because they're still doing it. It doesn't matter whether they're faceless or not. It's still happening. That's the point. And so a movie like Green Book is trying to say, whether it does it well or not do it well, is trying to say, shut up and just like each other because you're people. Mm-hmm. That's the message of the movie.
That is.
You're people. Get over yourselves. You're people. And it does it in a fluffy kind of way, and some of it works and some of it doesn't work and whatever else. And, like, I don't mind fluffy movies by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, here's the thing is, so a good equation of this would be the Gillette commercial like a month ago that told men, don't be horrible. And people were like, oh my God, this commercial is preaching to me to not be horrible. How dare it?
Right. It's a
But that is the but that is the
society.
kind. But like that's the reaction of the internet, and I'm not saying that that's not a real reaction because you see it, it's tangible. But there's always the question of how much of that reaction is not just people on the internet who like to stir the pot.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're a pot stirrer, not like with this stuff. You know what I mean? But I mean,
I am a troll. I will say that.
Yeah, but
I love trolling.
You love
but
trolling.
I do it in a.
But you also troll like your friends,
right?
You don't like
Like,
generally speaking,
right?
You're not. You might not like Marvel, but you're not going to Rotten Tomatoes and being like half a star because I hate Marvel, because you're a better person than that.
No, I do.
See, you're a terrible person.
But I'm just giving it half a star. Like, I'm not like writing up an entire negative
But
review.
it doesn't matter. You haven't seen the movie.
It doesn't matter. They're bad.
But
they're bad.
You're making.
But what I'm not doing.
You're feeding into the mentality that I'm trying to fight against here.
No, because what I'm not doing is I'm not tagging Donnie Cates.
No.
And threatening him.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not going after Brie Larson.
But
I'm not.
Yes, but you are by judging something that you have not seen.
No.
Yeah. No, you are.
No.
It's a sight unseen judgment. It's no.
No, I see the trailer.
No,
it's bad.
That's not. You cannot judge a movie on its trailer.
I can.
No,
you can also
can't.
judge a book by its cover.
No, you can't. You literally can't. And it's like I'm not getting angry at you. I'm getting angry at, like, that's how people think. And it's just, that is wrong. It's actually wrong. And people's opinions can be a lot of things, but to prejudge something because you have preconceived notions is literally what Green Book is telling you not to do.
I'm not judging a person.
No, but
I'm judging product.
Yeah, but you haven't. but you haven't seen the product and experienced the product to judge it correctly.
Oh no, I can.
But you can't. And I know this is your trolling thing that you're doing right now. You're just like saying the opposite thing to get me angry, whatever
I'm
else.
not saying the opposite thing.
No, but you are. But that's my point. You're doing it in jest, but that turns into maliciousness from other people. Actual maliciousness. Because we are unwilling to change our minds, to forgive, be merciful, try something new. We just say, I don't like it, move on, flip the next page. That's the society we live in.
No, I think I'm still right.
Oh, my God. I'm not even listening. I'm not even going to listen to you anymore. I'm just going to talk. But, that's where it all turns wrong. And you're actually feeding into that machine by doing things like that. Even though you just say, you're sitting here and saying, no, the majority is good and whatever else. But not if you're participating in the loud minority.
I'm not being loud about it.
It doesn't matter.
I don't go and
Palmer, that's like saying, I'm not part of the Ku Klux Klan because I don't put on, a hood, but I'm racist.
No. See, there's a difference between going on Rotten Tomatoes and clicking a half a star, not writing up a review, not dragging the movie. Because if you look, when I actually talk about a movie, I've seen it. I haven't sat there and dragged Captain Marvel for being bad.
But we live in a society of ratings. That's
just stupid.
It doesn't matter. That's the society we live in.
That's what I'm fighting.
That people are judgmental before academically, emotionally, and physically and spiritually forming an opinion. But that's the world that we live in.
Exactly.
So don't feed into that problem.
I want them to see the problem.
You're not letting people see the problem if you're literally part of the problem.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, that's true.
So, all right. So there's been articles about how Captain Marvel's... Now, I haven't done this for Captain Marvel. Let's be clear. I haven't done it for Captain Marvel.
That's some backpedaling that you just did there.
No, because I have not gone and put a half a star for Captain Marvel.
Okay. Even though you said that you did about 5 minutes ago.
If I did, I'm sorry. I didn't.
See, that's what I mean.
No. If I actually said that, I am sorry. I haven't done it.
Said that.
The last movie I did it for
was Ghostbusters.
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't do it for Ghostbusters. I hated Ghostbusters.
I know
but I didn't do it for Ghostbusters. What was the one before Black Panther? Thor, right?
Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's probably that one. I haven't done it.
Because you hate Thor and Taika Waititi, even though he's amazing, and Chris
No,
Hemsworth.
Thor Ragnarok was bad.
Right. But
anyway, Captain Marvel.
If you saw it and didn't like it, right away.
But I did, and I didn't like it.
Right. But what you're saying, what I did was rated it before I saw it.
Right. And then I saw it, and the rating I gave it was too high.
But why rate something if you've never experienced
because it's fun.
it?
So here's the reason.
Oh, my God.
So here's the reason.
Why are we friends?
I don't know.
Why do we do this show? Why do we have another episode to record after this extremely
So
long
here's the
episode?
thing, is with Captain Marvel, you have articles talking about how people are really raking it on Rotten Tomatoes, and it has the lowest critic score of any Marvel Universe movie ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what would be really great to come out of this?
What?
Captain Marvel does really well, and people stop listening to a tomato.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But
That's all I want.
But
that's
they
all I
won't.
want out of life. And
Right.
if me bringing down a rating by not being personal, by not trashing the actress, by not trashing anybody connected to it, just saying it's an objectively bad movie, and people not agreeing, I am fine with this.
You've made your stance on Marvel far too clear for people to believe you when you say things. That's might be the problem here when it
But
comes
it's
to
true.
that.
Like, Thor is a bad movie.
You're not talking about Thor now. You're talking about Captain Marvel.
Right, which I haven't seen.
Right, but so let's say, so you didn't rate it down.
Right.
People did. That is science. That is scientific method 101. You are literally screwing with the results before the experiment. You are creating data before you have the to see
Right.
to see
and if it
the
makes
final
people
product.
not rely on false data that can be falsified
Palmer, that's
to
like-
make up their
Palmer-
to make up their mind for them,
Palmer,
it'll be a better world.
That's like saying I'm going to create fake news to teach people that fake news exists. Like, and they shouldn't listen to just headlines.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
Right.
You also shouldn't click on sensationalistic headlines.
Right.
But that's another.
Right. But, like, you don't create the thing to teach people, to not do the thing. That's not enough of a lesson. Like, you're not going, like, it's not enough. It's not, though.
They can be.
But it's not.
All right.
Can
So
we wrap this up? It's been over 2 hours.
I've been trying to, but
No.
you're the one who's still talking.
Because this is important to nobody. But
I think we're still talking about A Star Is Born, right?
I think so. So, Robo, what do you think?
So, see, that's the thing. I rated A Star Is Born 5 stars, and then I saw the movie.
See, why would you pre-rate something? It doesn't make any sense.
Because the trailer was so good.
You can't base a film on a trailer.
Yes, I can.
Otherwise, Suicide Squad was the best movie that came out.
Suicide
2
Squad
years
was a
ago.
great movie.
It was not.
It was an Oscar winner.
It was. Yes, the makeup for Killer Croc was very good.
Yes.
Yes,
I fully believed he was a
does not make
crocodile.
No, not the way he moved, certainly. But that was that. All the components weren't there.
Okay.
All the components.
Says you, and you're wrong.
Okay. Great.
So, the Oscar goes to...
The Oscar goes to Black Klansman.
I like how you just said that definitively.
Definitively.
Like you're saying it for
goes-
both of us.
I'm saying it for the both of us. It
Okay.
goes to Black Klansman because that's the way you were going to choose.
No.
What were you going to choose?
I was going to choose Green Book.
Okay, you know what? I think I knew that because you didn't throw the brick yesterday.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
I didn't. But to be fair, the brick was only to be used if Bohemian Rhapsody or Black Panther won.
I'm not completely against Green Book winning the award, but I maintain it is not the best product of all its parts.
Here's my reasoning for it. I understand your reasoning for Black Klansman, and Black Klansman is a very good choice. I would not argue if that had won last night. I would not be sitting here arguing that it was a bad choice.
Right.
Favorite, I would have. Favorite would have gotten the brick too.
Favorite is some of the components really work. They don't work all together.
And A Star Is Born. Basically, A Star Is Born, Bohemian Rhapsody, and The Favorite would have gotten the brick.
I honestly enjoyed A Star Is Born
I know
more
you
than
did.
I
I don't know
enjoyed
why.
Black Klansman.
So
I think Black Klansman is a better movie.
So Black Klansman is a great movie. I also think Green Book is a really good movie. There's enough. The differences are so minute that at that point I go, which one would I want to see again and again? And
Honestly,
that's Green Book.
Honestly, I'd rather see Green Book again and again. But we've talked about this, that like sometimes the movie that I think is the best movie is not always, you know what I mean? Because that's when you become subjective objective.
Right, but I think in my mind the differences are so small
Sure.
that it's essentially just a tiebreaker at this point.
Yeah.
I would want to like Black Klansman's a great movie. Go out and see it. It's not a movie that I could watch all the time, because it's heavy at times.
Sure. But I think the acting in Green Book is superior to that of Black Klansman, but I think the sum of parts of Black Klansman
Right,
work better
which is
than some of the
yeah.
components.
And
of
I just
Green Book.
I think Green Book is kind of the opposite thing. With Green Book, I think you have the story and the acting, because I like the story that is trying to deal with this problem by saying, just love each other. Whereas Black Klansman's trying to deal with the problem by really showing you like the grittiness of it.
Yeah, it was honestly the end of Black Klansman that really clinched it for me. It
Right.
was like showing the real footage.
Oh, and that is the most powerful part of that movie.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Green Book is where I want to see the world go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where it gives,
Yeah.
that's where it kind of
But with
stretches
Green
ahead.
Book, I maintain a film doesn't have to be true. It just doesn't. Would I prefer if it was? Sometimes, depending on the movie, but it's not necessary all the time.
Right.
And I don't think that it's in terms of I just don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
Like, there's a big old difference. So anyway.
You're still talking.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you can find us on Academy Rewind at Gmail and Twitter. You can check out all of the Thought Bubble Audio shows at thoughtbubbleaudio.com. And we will be back with our regularly scheduled program of taking a look back at the Oscars, going back in the sixes, 2016, 2006, 1996.
Yeah, I believe we're
1996.
to 96.
It's either 2006 or 96. Because
Yeah.
I'm inserting this one right into the release schedule.
Right.
Which is a little longer now than it's
Because somebody has a life.
Because somebody has a lot going on in their life right now. So I say fortnightly, but it's really a 3-week period.
Yes, I refuse to not have him say fortnightly.
Yeah, otherwise I would have said a fortnightly plus one or something like that. So anyway, that's it for us, which is good because they're playing us off.
I have some other people to thank.
Too freaking bad.
Bye.